Okay, looks like we're live. As the as the prompt says, this game includes occasional blank plots. When shocked or surprised, please scream loudly and disturb your neighbours. Make sure you've got some tissues ready and put on your headphones. Okay, so we're going to continue. I'll put the Let me pop out chat. I'll also make sure that the screen is maxed. Okay. Hey everyone, this is me streaming Wheel, A Wonderful World. It's a game on Steam. Basically, the idea of it is that you get letters from all these people. Let me try and zoom out. So, all these people at the top, you get letters from them, and you're a god. And you have to change the outcome of their lives. So, we're going to try and fix people's lives. Starting with the first one we've got here is the exclamation mark. This is Spotty. This is the cat. A noble stray cat from Korea. Favorite food is milk. Special attack. Blah blah blah. So that's our. That's what we're going to try and do now. So the story now is meow meow meow. This is the story. For a homeless cat, fresh water is one of the biggest challenges we have to face. The puddles on the road are out of question. They are too dirty. The water in the fish tank at the seafood store isn't bad, but if the owner catches me, he chases me off. Aside from those, there is another good option. The water inside something that humans call a toilet. The water there has a slow and steady flow which always produces the best quality. Every homeless cat has had their own favourite drinking spot. So did I. There was a big building not too far away from the street. Most humans going in and out of the building wore uniforms. Some of them would even salute one another. Speaking of which, why do humans poke at themselves in the eye with their fingers to show their respect? On the south side of the building, on the first floor, there was a small window that was always open. I often sneaked into the building through it, and there was a toilet behind that window. If I crawled under the door opposite the toilet, I could see even more toilets. These two-legged monkeys spent so much effort just so that they could take a dump. What a waste. Tonight I jumped through the window on the first floor as usual. It was very quiet in the bathroom. I could see the moon through the window, which filled the room with the silver moonlight. I stood up on the rim of the toilet and drank. I tumbled into the toilet, then the toilet lid dropped with a bang. I jumped upwards. Another bang. My head hit on the lid, but it didn't open. Eh? 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 Have I become too old to stand still now? Somebody help me! Meow meow! It was pitch black in the toilet. I pushed my paw through the gap under the lid and wiggled, hoping desperately that someone would see it and help me. But all I could hear was myself and some flies buzzing in the bathroom. Had the humans all gone home after work? I struggled for a while until I was totally exhausted. The room quieted down. I thought of the house cats that I despised. If one of them had fallen into the toilet in his own house, his humans would have gotten them out by now for sure, and then he would have taken a nice bath and be wrapped up in a warm blanket. Maybe his humans would even play some music and sing for him. I began humming to myself without even realising it, before shutting myself up when I heard how off key I was. Spotty. Okay, so in this game, we have to change the story so that the protagonist actually gets what they want. This red line here is what we need to change. So let's go to the next letter. Final battle. I've been toyed with by an infamous and psychopathic serial killer. Yet somehow I was still able to live to tell the tale. It was probably the greatest achievement of my entire life now and forever. I'd hoped that I could just file a police report and get back to my normal life. But I was too naive. The police sent an officer to investigate my claims and he asked me to accompany him. But the investigation turned out to be very dispiriting. The heavy rain and landslides overnight had washed away all of the evidence from where P and I had first met. The warehouse that had been used to imprison me belonged to a key factory that had gone bankrupt a long time ago. No useful clues remained in the warehouse except for my own fingerprints. The gate to Apple Manor was locked. According to the official records, the owner had gone abroad a few years ago. We were not allowed to enter without a warrant. But when I was in the bathroom of the police station, I overheard something that depressed me even more. About that young unemployed man, he said he was unwilling to tell his family about the case. Don't you think that's a little suspicious? Exactly, what he told us was so outlandish. Pi is a serial killer who can easily take out a professional boxer. Why would he possibly let such an otaku escape? There's more. He said he had heard of the voice of Pi and that it sounded like, what was it exactly? Oh right, a vampire. Haha, what a hoot. Maybe he's a junkie, who knows? So many young people these days don't want to get a real job. They live off their rich family and just mess around with drugs. You should look into him instead, I think. What about his case then? Oh, I skipped that last line, sorry. I sat on the toilet, totally stunned. I thought that as long as I told everything to the police, they would surely be able to follow the leads and capture Pi. I thought they would at least be able to protect me. But now I had nothing but contempt for these useless police. Nothing but contempt. And even more contempt. Fine, if you people don't believe me, I'll prove it myself. I hacked into the surveillance system of Apple Manor. Whoa, hacker man. There was indeed not a living soul in the manor. Everything had been meticulously cleaned up by Pi. When I was about to exit the system and clean up any traces of my invasion, I accidentally noticed a video file named after me in the storage system. Downloading. Playing. I thought it would be a video about me. But it was just a short video that lasted only for a few seconds. I will find you again. Yikes. No! I let out a scream and dropped my favourite Sir Spotty mug. It was smashed into pieces. What was worse was that the video reminded me of that time that Pi kidnapped me from home when I was still asleep. I was basically a pathetic lamb waiting to be slaughtered if I just stayed at home like this. Should I call the police? Don't be silly. They would never take me seriously until I became a dead body. Should I leave Hong Kong? But then it would be like the time when I left Beijing all over again. Perhaps I had to admit to myself that this was... I clicked the wrong button, sorry. In my senior year, I had a huge crush on a lovely girl. I stalked her, taken photos in secret, and written her anonymous letters. I never had the courage to tell her how I felt face to face. Not sure that's the right option. Then the photos I took were exposed online, causing her tons of trouble. I remember the day when those photos had been posted. 2 boys from the lower grade were harassing her. Stalker man. Yes, that's exactly it. Stalker man. I gathered all of my courage and went up to stop them, thinking I would teach them a lesson. As it turned out, I was the one who was then dragged into the bike parking area and beaten up. That was probably the bravest thing I'd ever done in my entire life. I'd always been weak and useless. I wasn't able to help her win a tennis match. I couldn't appreciate an art exhibition. I didn't protect her when she was taken away by bad people. I didn't take her to the hospital when she was ill and passed out. I couldn't even teach some punk kids from the lower grade a lesson. How would it even be possible for her to like someone like me? Eventually, I gave up on telling her how I felt. Instead, I ran back to Hong Kong after graduation. I also declined all of the jobs that Father had found for me. It wasn't that I didn't like those jobs. I was just worried that if I screwed up, Father would know about it and I would get scolded by him. But then, I never really went out looking for jobs myself either. Eventually, I became a pathetic otaku. I was still good at playing video games, but the only reason was that in the game, I would never have to deal with any real responsibilities, win or lose. I had been running away for my entire life. Too real, chat. Too real. Where could I even run away to this time? Did I really want to hide in the digital world again? I stared at Pi's short message, completely focused. For 5 hours from noon until sunset, I finally made up my mind. I took a deep breath and dropped the throw pillow on the floor. The throw pillow is an anime pillow. You know that, right? A few minutes later, I had recorded a video myself too, with my own message. Come at me, bastard. Uploading. For the next 3 days, I collected everything I could find about Pi on the internet, from rumours in random forums to the internal archives of the Hong Kong Police Department Criminal Division. Like a detective on a TV show, I'd written down all of the tips on post-it notes. I then pinned them up on a board and connected the clues with threads. The common characteristics shared among Pi's chosen targets: 1. Sadistic. 2. Male. 3. Some kind of abnormal perversion. Pi's own traits: 1. Only use knives. 2. Preferred to strike at places that victims frequented, such as their own homes and workplaces, so that it could be quickly discovered and serve as some sort of warning. 3. Preferred to strike during unusual hours of the day. If there wasn't a suitable time window, or if the window was too short, he would strike at another location and transport the body to his preferred location later. 4. Depending on the sins or fetishes of the victims, Pi would always perform some ritual either before or after the attack to inflict maximum suffering upon the victim. It was typically done before. 5. Afterwards, he would always thoroughly clean up the crime scene. 6. Finally, he would always leave his own trademark, a smiley face. Ooh. Pi must have been a patient, meticulous and intelligent person. Now that I'd holed up myself at home, he must have been getting ready to come and get me. I had to be even more prepared and ready for when he eventually did. I decided to never set one foot out my door again and relied solely on home deliveries. Whenever the food was delivered, I'd tell the delivery guy to leave the food at the door. I would only open the door when I could make sure that no one was outside, and I'd leave my bags of trash out when I brought in my food. I had heard some ladies yelling about me leaving the garbage out in the hallway. but I had no other choice. If I went downstairs to dump my garbage, Pa would be sure to find an opportunity to kill me. If I didn't throw the garbage away, and if Pa didn't show up for 6 months, I would probably be crushed by my own trash before he killed me. It was a matter of life and death. I didn't want to be remembered as the first person in Hong Kong ever to be killed by his own garbage. Of course, I had also installed a full homemade alarm system in my home. Of course, because who doesn't do that, right? And I never went to bed without a knife and pepper spray in my hands. This had been my life for 2 months. It was a Tuesday. As usual, I'd called for my delivery, and I was watching anime on my computer as I waited for my dinner. Sorry, of course. It's a Tuesday. You're watching anime on your computer. Of course. Standard day. The bell to my apartment rang. The delivery guy showed up in the monitor. Come on up, just leave the bag at the door. My adrenaline level had risen to the highest it had ever been. For the last 2 months, I'd only ever ordered deliveries from Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut, that well-known chain. Pizza Hut. The closest one to my place had a total of 28 employees, 7 of whom would be out doing the deliveries. Lefty, Nima, Uncle Kwan, Terry, Sonny, plus 2 cooks who occasionally did the legwork too, Sister Wang and Brother Feng. I remembered everything about them. I could even tell the distance between the mole on Sister Wang's face and the corner of her mouth in millimeters. This delivery guy downstairs had a mole at the corner of his eye and incredibly pale skin. He was obviously not one of those 7 people. Meanwhile, Pizza Hut hadn't hired a new employee for 2 whole years, as business hadn't been going too well for them. Moreover, the manager, old Lou, had always hated good-looking young men. He would never have hired some new guy like this. I logged into the surveillance system and ran some programs. My PDA screen immediately started showing a video from a hidden camera. On the screen, I got up from my computer and walked into the bathroom. The screen then switched to the view inside the bathroom. I started to undress, stepped into the bathtub and closed the shower curtain. The screen switched again to what was behind the shower curtain, and naked me turned on the shower. What? Outside of the screen though, I was still sitting in front of my computer. Based on the games Pi had played with me, I was confident Pi must be a competent hacker himself. Chances were he was holding a PDA right now and looking at the exact same video while he was coming up the stairs. I grabbed a knife and the pepper spray. I walked into the bathroom. I turned on the shower. I closed the shower curtain. And I turned to the laundry basket sitting in the corner. I bought it specially for today. It was an extra large one, large enough to hide an entire person. Suddenly, I felt like I had forgotten something important. I opened the lid. Shit! Not now. I would always carelessly throw my dirty clothes into the basket every time I changed out of them, telling myself I would do the laundry next time. Hubots, yes, it is, translated into English. But I'd forgotten that after 2 months of never actually doing the laundry, the basket was now full. Crap. If I pulled out the dirty clothes and dumped them on the floor, Pa would be sure to notice something was suspicious. Well, Rocky always used to mock me about this. Now I was paying for it. Time kept ticking ahead. Right at this moment, Pa was probably already standing at my door and getting out his key to unlock the door. What should I do? Was there anything else in the bathroom I could hide inside? The toilet? How on earth could I hide inside that? All of a sudden, the bathroom door was slowly pushed open. It was Pi standing at the doorway, carrying a pizza box, looking right at me. He tipped the pizza hat that was on his head and smiled at me like a true gentleman. Long time no see. I panicked, and I even forgot I had a knife in my hand. I just nervously raised a pepper spray like an idiot. But Pi was faster. He pulled out a can of God knows what and immediately sprayed it all over my face. How could this have happened? I had planned so carefully, waited for so long, yet I still ended up like this. Was it my fate to die at his hands? When my consciousness had finally returned to this world, Pi was standing right in front of me. This time there was no costume, no mask, no voice modulator. You must have thought that I would just kill you in your home and finish it all, right? Well, to be honest, the games that we played together were really enjoyable, so it would be a shame just to kill you off like that. In return, I've made some special arrangements for you this time. An even more spectacular arcade. He gestured behind him. It wasn't a very large room, but I could see all kinds of horrifying tools and devices everywhere. Whobots? I don't know, maybe halfway through? Like, I've got no clue at all. I've done quite a few quests already though. This time the game will be played on Nightmare level. Jimmy. Right. Chat. We're into the real game. So, the whole idea of this game is you're a god and people send you letters about what happened to them, and you have to rearrange the letters and help them survive or get a better outcome. So as you can see here, the entire story is this thing here. Things in red are things we can change, but we change them by rearranging stuff that happens before and after the thing in red. Now, in order to change, we click start, but there is another letter. Now, when it says next letter, that's another letter that's combined to it, so we'll do this one as well. Ah, okay. No, my bad. So the cat and this story is connected. So this cat story and this guy are connected. So let's start. So we can move things between the chat. So scrolling down, these are the only three things we can change. The ones in white. So give me some tips, chat. What should we change to change the whole narrative of this story and save not only the cat but the guy as well? Okay, you want the guy to tumble into the toilet. So like this, yeah? Throw the cat. Okay. Let's try Whobots first. So the bathroom door was slowly pushed open. I tumbled into the toilet, then the toilet lid dropped with a bang. Okay. Okay, so we're viewing it from the cat's point of view. I was drinking when I heard a loud engine booming outside the window. It was the kind of sound that could only be produced by one of those human-made machines. Even the window of the bathroom began shaking because of the noise. After a few windows, the open window pane was shaken shut. Oh no. And the door of the room was closed too. There was no one inside. Right, so red is bad. I knocked on the door, hoping to hear something from the other side of the door, but it seemed there was no one left either. Have the humans all gone home after work? Do I have to wait here until morning? No, no, no. Meow. Okay, so now from the guy's point of view, something incredible and weird had happened. In a panic, I put one foot into the toilet, but it somehow sucked my entire body inside. A huge noise immediately followed, and I could see nothing but darkness. From a scientific point of view, this was absolutely ridiculous and impossible. Yet there was no other reasonable explanation. My body had just shrunk. My back was against the cool, slippery, art-shaped ceramic wall. It was also sticking to the wall because of some smelly and muddy stuff. I don't want to know. Smelly and muddy, thanks. Before my brain could get a chance to process all of this, I was suddenly blinded by a sudden burst of light. The sight I had just seen had me gasping in shock. Ooh, this is disgusting. A low and muffled voice came from above. I saw a pale face with blue eyes appear in an oval-shaped gap. Fortunately for me, Pi didn't see me. Unfortunately though, he was reaching for the button on the water tank. Wait, no! A huge booming sound came from somewhere above me. Several torrential streams burst out from the toilet rim. It was a futile struggle in the roaring whirlpool. I was finally swallowed by the tsunami in the toilet. Thanks, chat. We got a rank B on both. Okay, so we need to move these three around. What's the next step? So the chats with the post-it notes on them are the ones we can move. Okay, hang on. We can't move the green one. So oh, we can. Hang on. Wait. So maybe we jump upwards here. Was there anything else I could in the bathroom I could hide inside? I jump upwards. But we've got to save the cat as well, so maybe just that, right? So the guy jumps upwards, then falls into the toilet. The cat's door gets pushed open. Let's try that. No bad endings. Something incredible and weird had happened. In a panic, I put one foot into the toilet, but it somehow sucked my entire body inside. A huge noise immediately followed, and I could see nothing but darkness. From a scientific point of view, this was absolutely ridiculous and impossible. Yet there was no other reasonable explanation. My body had just shrunk. My back was against the cool, slippery, arch-shaped ceramic wall. It was also sticking to the wall because of some smelly and muddy stuff. Yeah. I know, bad ending. Before my brain could get a chance to process all of this, I was slipping down faster and faster. And then splash. I felt as if I'd just fallen from the sky into an ocean. My mouth and nose were submerged in a foul-smelling liquid in an instant. It didn't matter too much where I was at this point, because I couldn't swim. How could this have happened? I had planned so carefully, waited for so long, and yet I still ended up like this. Was it my fate to die at his hands? Now onto the cat. A man pushed open the door and walked in while on his phone. He saw me standing on the toilet, did a double take and walked into the next stall. He was still on his phone while doing his business. Keep a close eye on it for the next couple of days. If, call me immediately. I was about to drink some more when I heard a loud engine booming outside the window. It was the kind of sound that could only be produced by one of those human-made machines. Even the window of the bathroom began shaking because of the noise. Mr. MN Anxiety, thanks for following. After a few seconds, the open window pane was shaken shut.
Yep.
Oh no! But I was a lucky spy. The man had just finished his business. He was walking out, still holding the phone. I shrewdly followed him and left the bathroom. Right, okay. We're getting there. So we've got a rank S on the cat and a rank A on the guy. How do we fix this? So we get a rank S on both. Thanks, Anxiety. Okay, so what if we... Thanks, Alex. What if we move this over to here? So wait, so the guy can't go into the toilet, that's for sure. What if the cat falls in the toilet and then the guy walks in on his phone and then he saves the cat, perhaps? Maybe? Okay. Let's try it. Let's hope this works.
Yep.
A? A? You can see the cat, look, its tail and its paw is stuck in the toilet. Dumb cat. Have I become too old to stand still now? Somebody help me, meow meow. I was scared shitless in the toilet when a human finally opened the lid. What the hell? Why is there a damn cat here? He grabbed me by the back of my neck with a disgusted look on his face. Bad ending. It's red. He threw me out the window that I'd come in from. I thought I'd land on some grass. What I didn't expect was that a gigantic human-made metal machine had been parked outside the window. One of my front paws hit the machine so hard that it almost got broken. Damn it, if I were younger, I would have easily scored a perfect landing. I massaged my paw and was getting ready to leave. That's when I saw Blackie, whom I hadn't seen for a long time. He seemed to have matured a lot and wasn't as intimidating as I once remembered. He said he no longer cared about whether humans preferred dogs or cats. Survival was all that mattered to him. He also told me that his old turf, the pipe in the empty lot, had been taken over by a stinky cat named Gigi. Gigi was a glutton. He would always make the other cats bring him food. They were not even allowed into the lot unless they brought him some tribute. Now the lot always smelled like dead rats. Because of this, the humans living nearby had called people from a homeless animal shelter, and they'd taken away many homeless cats. You should be careful. Before he could finish his sentence, Blackie was trapped inside a net. I saw two humans in uniforms holding a bag and a trap net. One was fat and the other was very thin. They were standing only a metre away from me. I had to temporarily forget about the pain in my paw and climbed up a nearby tree as fast as I catly could. I then jumped onto the edge of a roof. Fortunately, I was able to get away. Farewell, Blackie. Okay, we're back to the guy now. I had no other choice but to follow my original plan. I pulled out half of the dirty clothes and tossed them aside. Then I climbed into the basket and closed the lid. I tried to observe what was going on through the holes in the wicker basket. The bathroom door was pushed open. A slim but menacing figure walked in. I held my breath and my knife and pepper spray tight in my hands. May the goddess bless me. 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 May the goddess bless me, etc. Pi slowly crouched down. He stared at the holes in the basket. His expression went from suspicious to certain. Long time no see. The goddess had forsaken me once again. Why? Why? I stood up from the basket screaming and stabbed at him with the knife in my hand. Pi casually blocks the knife with the pizza box. There wasn't pizza inside the box, but something metal. He had been well prepared all along. He raised a can of God knows what in his other hand and sprayed it all over my face. How could this have happened? I had planned so carefully, waited for so long, yet I still ended up like this. Was it my fate to die at his hands? When my consciousness had finally returned to this world, Pi was standing right in front of me. This time there was no costume, no voice, no mask, no voice modulator. You must have thought that I would just kill you in your home and finish it all right. Well, to be honest, the games we played together were really enjoyable, so it would be a shame just to kill you off like that. In return, I've made some special arrangements for you this time. An even more spectacular arcade. He gestured behind him. It wasn't a very large room, but I could see all kinds of horrifying tools and devices everywhere. This time, the game would be played on nightmare level. Okay, chat. Please. There must be some way we can rearrange these three things here to get good for both. Chat, I'm relying on you. Please. Please help. Jump after tumble in toilet. But is that for the cat or for the guy? Oh, for the guy, so... like that, so he jumps into the toilet, then he jumps up. Okay, right, let's try it. This is on you, Alex. Something incredible and weird happened. Right, so we've seen this one already. Yep. Okay. Okay, this is new. To keep myself from sliding down further, I jumped upward as hard as I could. My head bumped into something, but surprisingly, it didn't stop me. I landed next to the toilet. Aside from smelling a little, my body seemed to have changed back to normal. After a brief period of shock, I realised this must have been a blessing from the goddess of fortune. She'd given me a place to hide. Pi had entered the apartment. I didn't have much time for anything else. I quickly grabbed a rope I had lying around and stepped into the toilet, in inverted commas, one more time, turning into a Lilliputian. I hid in the toilet and I saw Pi walk into the bathroom. He looked like a giant to me. I could see every fibre on his Pizza Hut uniform, every blonde hair on his arm, and every long eyelash around his eyes. Pi looked around. He even checked the laundry basket. My heart skipped a few beats. Thank God I wasn't hiding in there. Finally, he grabbed the shower curtain with his hand, but he didn't immediately pull it open. It couldn't be. Did he see through my setup? However, the goddess awarded me another blessing. Pi sneezed. Yes, he just sneezed. He involuntarily pulled open the shower curtain and unveiled the trap that I set up. A huge amount of liquid suddenly ejected from the wall. Pi was pushed back by the power of the eruption, and then he slipped and fell to the ground. He covered his face with his hands and started screaming in pain. It was not just regular pepper spray. It was my personal invention, filling a fire extinguisher with jalapeno water and pepper spray, and I had named it the Super Awesome Anti-Pi Spray Machine. Both the power and the stimulation were absolutely top notch. I jumped back out of the toilet. My body returned to normal once again. Then I picked up the lid of the water tank and I smashed it onto his head as hard as I could. What a small world. The officers who came to my apartment were the same ones who'd been suspicious of me. The one who had wanted to investigate me even gave me a meaningful look before they left. Of course, they didn't say anything else except to politely thank me for my assistance. And I, of course, politely gave him the finger. After I sent the police away, the next day the news of Pi being captured was everywhere. They even published Pi's family background and history, although no one would know if they were true or not. Whatever the case, I couldn't care any less. Upon my first firm insistence, the police agreed to not reveal the truth of how Pi had been captured. I did not want to be in the paper once again. The world was full of surprises, but life still went on. I did a thorough cleaning of my apartment. I even cleaned the dust that had been piling up in my computer case for years. Looking at my nice and sparkling clean room, I felt my mood was finally brightening up too. I stayed inside for a few more days. Then I went and visited my parents. I also visited lots of places around Hong Kong. Everywhere I went, I would go and check the bathroom there. I would try and jump in the toilet and then jump back out again. Of course, I only chose the ones that looked clean. Some kind of ASCII face, I guess. Despite still not knowing how it happened that day, I had indeed gained a special power. Furthermore, I had a new hypothesis too. What if a toilet was not connected to the sewer? What if, at the bottom of the toilet, there was simply another opening? Would I be able to stay shrunk and still move around? Ever since I had this thought, I'd begun to often get too excited to fall asleep at night. I'd lie on the bed, stare at my collection of Marvel comic books on the shelf, and start fantasizing. Now that I had this superpower, I had special responsibilities as well, right? Chat, we did it. Or rather, Alex, well done. Rank S on both. Nice. Well done. Okay. Story plot? Hey, lazy ass, how much longer are you going to sleep? Shush, dumb brother. I don't want to get up yet. Ever since Fluffy's been gone, you've been acting like this. You don't eat anything. You don't go to bed on time. You'll get sick if you keep going on like this. Okay, so a bit of backstory for people that don't know the game. This is the home of the gods, and the gods is where the letters from people are sent to, and you're a god, and you have to change people's lives. So I hope that clarifies it, or not. You don't eat anything. You don't go to bed on time. You'll get sick if you keep going on like this. That's none of your business. Ah, I just remembered. I heard that the zoo has got some polar bears recently. Want to go take a look? Polar bears? There have always been polar bears at the zoo. Oh, but these are not just common polar bears. I hear they're leased from a Brazilian zoo, and they have green fur. ... Really? Really? The zoo even has even doubled the price of their tickets. If you come with me today, I'll pay for the tickets. The bears are only here for a few days. It'll be a shame to miss them. What do you say? It was just a dream. I knew it. When did I ever have a brother? I never had an Oni-chan to call my own. Oh, what time is it now? It's only 10. Still quite early. I should go and find something to kill time. Anxiety. Green polar bears are always bad. Oh, hang on. I can choose what to click on to pass time. So this pink thing, the window, plant, doll, draw. Okay, first person's type in chat what I should click on. Gets to decide. So window, plant. Oh, doll. Okay, Alex wins. I click on the doll. This is my favourite doll, Buka. Although I have the feeling that it's not always been here. How long's she been here? Oh well, it doesn't really matter. I'm glad you're here with me. Oh, okay, we can click on more. So, book, draw, window, plant, whatever this thing is here. The view outside is still so upsetting. Everything is red and it's still snowing. When will it stop? By the way, I don't think I've ever watered this. How's it still growing so well? That's the question. Don't eat red snow. Okay, yep. That's a good tip. Don't eat red snow. There's a lot of dog hair on this pillow. Is it Master's hair? Master? What's this? Is it a storage box? I don't know how to open it. What exactly is this? It's just a dice? Why did I think it was something else? Was I hallucinating? Oh well. It's a photo album. Why aren't there any photos inside? Good question. Okay, I think that's everything. It's a little too early to go to the kitchen. I should check the room again, see if I can find something else interesting. Great, but there's nothing else interesting. Oh, books. When did I pile up all these books on the floor? Let me see what they are. The Story of the Isle of Dogs, Midnight Convenience Store, 428 at Deep, Square Lightning, The Assassin, Probability, Random Variables and Stochastic Processes. I don't remember having any of these books. I know I've forgotten many things, but that last one doesn't seem like a book I would read. Could it belong to someone else? But there's no one else here besides me and Master. It must be his then. It's the Master's job to handle these letters and help the humans. He always stacks the ones he's read on a shelf. Every time I bring him tea and snacks, I secretly take one with me to read in my spare time. He never notices one or two missing out of so many. Although, I'm surprised by how many I've collected. It's a miracle that he hasn't caught me yet. Wait, there seems to be a note in the middle of the letters. Omnidimensional Probability Generator Instruction Manual. What is this? It seems like the manual to some machine. Attention. 1. Do not misplace the instigator pen. 2. All requests must be entered as text. 3. All descriptions in the requests must be objectively accurate. 4. The energy consumption is irreversible. The doodled sketch on this note Looks a lot like Master's writing. There's more below. Added sample applications. Telepathy. The user who holds the instigator in an isolated environment is able to exhibit identical behavior to someone external to the environment. This feature is achievable by modifying the target's behavior to be identical to the user's behavior, not by reading the target's mind. Divination/memory tampering. The user who holds the instigator is able to foresee other people's future behaviors and reveal the past of unknown strangers. This feature is implemented by modifying the target's future behaviors or past history. It cannot actually predict the future or tamper with one's memories. Warning: altering objective past events could lead to unpredictable chain events. Please operate with extreme caution. This sounds like what Master has been doing. Oh, there's more. Resurrection. If it is possible to identify the objective events that have led to the target's death, that death can be prevented by altering the causal links among the chain of events. That's what we do. We take letters and we change things and save people. Teleportation. Ability to teleport. The distance of teleportation does not impact the amount of energy consumed. Time leap. Unverified. Teleportation? That sounds so cool. If I could do it, I would immediately teleport myself to a sunny beach. You and me both, sister. The view of this place is terrible. Although, what does time leap mean? I don't understand. Weather manipulation. The user who holds the instigator is capable of changing the weather and the geographical features of a location. Warning: using this feature may consume a significant amount of energy and even potentially destroy the ecosystem. Please operate with extreme caution. Transfiguration. The person who holds the instigator can change their appearance and or that of others. Unlike standard transfiguration, this feature allows the user to change into another species entirely, such as a cat or a dog. Change into a dog. Is that why Master can speak? No. What am I thinking? This note is probably the confused musings of an extremely bored and imaginative person. Master can speak because he's a god. And why would a god need a machine? Ha 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 ha! It seems clean. Right, so now I can go. Ah, it's that late already? I should go to the kitchen now, or Master will scold me. Should I make osmanthus cakes or pumpkin cookies today? Without the hiccups. Master prefers pumpkin cookies, but I like osmanthus cakes better. One sec. Okay. Let's hope I've got rid of the hiccups now. I do apologise, viewers. Thanks for bearing with me. Master prefers pumpkin cookies, but I like osmanthus cakes better. Hey, maybe I should roll the dice. Yes, if I get more than a 1, I'll make osmanthus cake. The dice circled around on the table before finally stopping, with nothing but one big red spot facing up. Okay, fine. I'll make us Manthus cake tonight. Is she blushing? Why is she blushing to herself over having to make cake? Please, have some respect, girl. Okay, she's making us Manthus cake. Right, let's check. We got some more posts here.
Porque siempre me pasa esto.
Ah, we got a new story for Carlos. Concrete death. Okay, so this is another character in the story. Carlos, days spent in prison could be boring. At noon, while the sun was right in the middle of the sky, Jin and Zhang got into an argument with each other in the yard yet again. In a couple of minutes, they'd start a brawl, and everyone else in the yard, inmates and guards alike, would become spectators. It turned into a daily routine. I sat under a tree far away from the ruckus. I wore my hat low and put my hands in my pockets, hoping to hide my nervousness from the guards and other curious inmates. I'd been in prison for almost half a month. At first, I thought I might have been arrested for wandering the streets in women's clothing. It was a strange reason to be arrested in Hong Kong, but I simply couldn't think of any other possibilities. Never would I have ever imagined that another possibility could exist. They finally told me that I'd been arrested for murder. This was beyond ridiculous. In the 10 Commandments of the Catholic Church, the 5th commandment, thou shalt not kill. How could I possibly have committed murder? And the person they accused me of killing? I'd never met him before. Ren used to tell me stories about how gangs would sometimes send some of their own young boys to confess for the crimes of the bosses. But usually, they'd at least get their story straight first. Why hadn't I heard anything in advance? I tried to send messages outside, hoping to get in touch with Mr. Kwan or any of the other people in the group, but I hadn't heard anything back. Just when I was starting to lose hope, an unexpected visitor came to see me. It was so brave and nice for Ye to visit. She was wearing a light green cheongsam, even more beautiful than the one I remembered. I apologise if I've butchered that on the stream. Her hair hadn't all grown back yet, but she still looked good. Ye told me that after I had saved her from the auction house, she'd been worried about me. It was so brave and nice for Yeet to visit, yes. She'd even sent someone from the Blood Game back to Pitt Street 99 to ask about me. They found out that I'd never been back there ever since. Coincidentally, the man Yi had sent Ran into Ren. Ren had been worried about me too, and he also happened to know Yi's man, so Ren went with him to the Blood Game and told Yi everything he knew. I was arrested by the police on the same day that I helped Yi escape. Mr. Kwan heard from the auction house about what I'd done. He was outraged, but before he sent people to come after me, he got a phone call from the secretary of Mr. Lin. In the phone call, he was told it had been arranged for me to stay in prison. From then on, whatever happened to me should not concern group loyalty anymore. Mr. Kwan and the others didn't know for sure how I'd offended the bosses so much. Based on the instructions they heard, they suspected that I wouldn't have much longer to live. Ren gave Ye all of my personal belongings that I'd left with the group, hoping she could bring them to me when she visited. Ye's finger accidentally touched my phone when she was showing me my things. It lit up. A woman with curly red hair appeared on my screen. One of the Blood Game members with us immediately recognised her. What? Do you know my sister? I couldn't contain my excitement and jumped up from the chair. Wait, I couldn't contain my excitement from seeing his sister. Stay quiet. The guard behind me stepped forward and pushed me back down. Ye unlocked her own phone and turned the screen towards me after a few clicks. I saw a list of people, some without a name, but only a photo, followed by a string of digits. I read through the list one by one and stopped at the 5th person. She looked so much like my big sis, but her name was labelled Dragon. Huh, that was quite a coincidence. Your sister last contacted you from Hong Kong, right? Well, she never left. She is now one of the top assassins in the field. Wonka Cozy? There's an $8 million bounty on her head. Dragon is her code name. Jin and Zhang finally started fighting. Cheers erupted around them. All of the other inmates and guards were gathering around them. I snuck into the storage room at the corner of the yard while no one else was watching. I'd long noticed there's one locker inside the storage room. It was full of random things that had not been claimed in a long time. I opened the locker with one hand and pulled my other hand out of my pocket. I'd been holding some tools in my palm, which was completely wet as I'd been sweating nervously the whole time. The tools had been brought in by Ye. She'd hidden them inside of the toiletries that she gave me. She told me to use these tools to break out of the prison. Ye also said that my being arranged into going to prison probably had something to do with my sister. Someone might be using me as leverage to blackmail Alicia. Or it could be a revenge on her by punishing me. Whichever the case was, I needed to get out of here as soon as possible. Unfortunately, the Black Dragon Gang was in control of this prison, so Ye and the Blood Gang couldn't just break me out of here. Therefore, I had to get out some way on my own. So, a prison break? Was I capable of something like that? Never mind. Whether or not the guards would catch me if I tried. My cellmate alone would probably ruin the whole thing before I even got started. Nevertheless, I decided to hide the tools well in advance. Even if someone discovered them here, they wouldn't be able to trace them back to me. As for my sister, I needed more time to think about this new information. Maybe I could find out more while I was still inside. I was just about to close the locker when I heard slow footsteps and wheels rubbing against the ground outside. They were getting closer and closer to the storage room. Crap, please don't be the guards. I hastily hid inside the locker and closed it. I could still see a little of what was going on outside through the door crack. A blonde man in a prison uniform pushed a cart inside and closed the door. There are a few bags of concrete in the cart. I'd heard that a new prison building was under construction. Lots of inmates were assigned to work on the site. He must be one of them. He started to unload the bags. 1, 2, 3. Another inmate was under the bags. His mouth was gagged and his limbs were tied up. I finally recognised both of them. The blonde one was said to be an infamous serial killer. Everyone called him Pi, and he'd been sentenced to life in prison. The other one that Pi had just dragged out of the cart and tossed on the ground was Kai. He was a serial rapist who'd been sentenced to 20 years for over 14 assaults. He was lying there, barely conscious. It wasn't unusual for inmates to have a go at each other. However, Kai seemed to have been completely knocked out. Our yard time would be over in half an hour. If they stayed in here too long, it might be too hard to sneak out. If Pi found me hiding in the locker, that might be even worse. Pi put on his gloves. I swallowed nervously. He pinned Kai to the ground and choked his neck until Kai eventually stopped moving completely and opened the locker. He noticed me. Pi grabbed me by the collar and dragged me out of the locker, then chopped me on the neck with his bare hand. Unimaginable pain travelled from my neck to my head, and I could feel my brain being cut off from the rest of my body before I blacked out. When I woke up, I found myself stuffed inside a bulk bag. Everything below my chest had been submerged in concrete, which had not completely hardened, but the pressure on my chest was making it impossible to breathe. To stop me from making any sounds, he'd also sealed my lips with a piece of cloth soaked in concrete. I rocked my body as hard as I could and fell to the ground. Then I saw another body bag which had been filled with solid concrete right before my eyes. The weird shape of the bag convinced me that Kai must be inside it. It was late at night. Pi would probably come back early in the morning and finish the job. Then he would throw these 2 bags with our bodies in them into the foundation of the new building and pour more concrete over both of our concrete coffins. No one would ever know. I had nothing to do with this. I was just here to hide something. How did I end up like this? Carlos. Okay, chat. We need to change things. This right here is where we need to change it. Okay, so we've got 4 options we can change. How do we fix this story so that we live? Okay, so we are in the locker room. Maybe he opens the locker first. And doesn't do anything to Kai. And then we get saved. Yeah, anxiety. This is a bad choice. Pi was still focused on Kai and paid no attention to this person who had just jumped out of the locker. I heard that Pi was mentally ill, but his diagnosis had come back normal. Yes, stop moving, playing dead. It works in the movies. Why doesn't it work in the game? Some people said the diagnosis must have been forged, as there were plenty of people who hated him and wanted him to be sent to prison. Nevertheless, seeing the twisted expression on his face right now, I was certain the normal diagnosis must have been fake. In any case, as long as he hadn't noticed me, I figured I should just sneak out. I inched towards the door slowly and steadily, then I turned around very carefully. When I was only 2 steps away from the door, I felt a breeze on the back of my neck, and then my body stopped responding to anything. When I woke up, I found myself feeling itching cold and stuffed sold. Right, okay, we've read this thing. Yeah, thanks. Thanks. I'm dead. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Maybe I should have talked to him instead of trying to sneak out. Perhaps he would like me better then and let me live. Okay. Maybe that's a hint. I felt so pathetic dying like this. I must have committed too many sins to end up like this. Sister, where are you? I miss you so much. Okay, so that's a hint. We should try and talk to him. Oh, maybe... Maybe we did this way around. So we talked to him first. No. Okay. Pi tied me up and tossed me aside after noticing me. Bad ending. Brilliant. Then I watched Pi perform an unbelievable operation on Kai. He made sure Kai would never be able to assault anyone ever again.
Okay. Pouring concrete. Yep. Thanks. The whole concrete thing we're through with. Right. What is the order here then? Maybe this one. So he pins Kai to the ground, and then open, and then we chat. Maybe. No. Okay. Okay. Right. Let's try this one. I made up my mind and came out of the locker. Kai looked surprised when he saw me, but he soon passed out because of the pain. Hey, don't you think that he's suffered enough? He'll be 60 by the time he can get out, and he'll die alone for sure. I'm certain he'll regret what he did in his youth. Killing him now is actually showing him mercy, right? You don't really have to do this. I inched closer to the door as I was speaking. I need to stay as far away from this lunatic as I could. I didn't really have any sympathy for Kai. I heard that he had even raped some 50-year-old woman. By that count, he might still hurt people even if he was released at 60. Pi seemed to be pondering my words. Huh. Who knew that lunatics could think too? When I was only 2 steps away from the door, he spoke. You make a good point, but I still think he should suffer a little more. What he did next paralysed me. I just stood there completely stunned, watching Pi perform an unbelievable operation on Kai. He made sure that Kai would never be able to assault anyone again. He cut his pee-pee, chat. He cut his pee-pee off. Kai was eventually sent into the medical office of the prison. Both Pi and I were brought to the warden's office later. I suspected Kai had said something to the guards. However, everyone knew Pi was a tough character, so neither the inmates nor the guards dared to mess with him. Anxiety, yeah. He sounds like an amazing person to date. Yep. Just don't cheat on him and everything will be fine. They were all afraid that Pi would one day mysteriously murder them. Therefore, he got out of trouble scot-free. The same thing couldn't be said for me. I was soon transferred to a solitary cell with high security. Breaking out of prison was looking more and more unlikely. What? I got an A, not an S. So what's the S? Okay. What do you mean switch bottom two? I need to get an S on this one here. See, the S is the only one I'm missing from here. What do you mean I need to get... Oh, right, okay. So you're saying I need to get this one here. Okay. Well, that's another time. I'm done streaming. thanks very much for watching. I might stream a little bit more tomorrow afternoon, depending on how well my washing of clothes for the dreaded work week goes. But thanks very much for watching, Alex, Anxiety, and everyone else that was watching. Cheers, ciao ciao, night night.